Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to do a updated full-fledged review and a flip through of Math Mammoth grades 1 and grade 2. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mama to a kindergartner and a second grader. For context, my kindergartner is 5, she'll turn 6 in August of this year, and my second grader is 7 and will turn 8 in July. So I've got summer babies, which makes them younger for their grade. And if you watched my mid-school year update video, which was a few back, you know that the update already is that Math Mammoth is going so well. But I wanted to give a few more details around it and what we like about it, show you a little bit of the insides. I don't want to do a full flip through because I don't want to give anything away with copyright, and obviously this is Maria Miller's work and I don't want to give all that away to you guys, but I do want to show you a little bit of the insides of it, show you what the content is for each grade, how the lessons are laid out, how we approach them, and what is working for us, all that good stuff. Now, if you want a full review of Math Mammoth, all the different programs that Maria Miller offers, I actually did a video on that. I'll link that up above here. But this video specifically is going to be an in-depth review and sneak peek inside of first grade, her light blue series, and second grade light blue series, which is her full math curriculum. Now, to start off, I should probably preface this video with a little bit of our math journey. I'm not going to do a full in-depth story of it because I've done it over multiple videos. If you go back and look at any of my Singapore math video, Math with Confidence videos, you'll kind of get to piece together the entire journey, but I'll just do kind of a high level review of that so you know how we got to where we are right now. Now, to start off with, my oldest daughter, she actually did kindergarten at a local charter school with us, and then we decided to homeschool after kindergarten. She went into school, was doing really well. You know, at that age level, they don't do grades that are A, B, C. It's either 1, 2, 3, or 4, with 4 being the highest grade, kind of like an A, I guess. She had an A or a 4 in math for the first 2 quarters of her school year. Third quarter, she went down to a 3. I talked to the teacher. She's like, oh yeah, she's just kind of a chatty Cathy and she's just not focusing on her work. And I was like, okay. So we talked to her about that. Her fourth quarter came around, and 2 days before she had her kindergarten graduation, I got a report card and it said that her math score had dropped to a 2. And no one talked to us about it. And I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, my daughter is not doing well in math. I'm a really mathematically inclined person. Like, I really like math and it makes sense for me. So I'm sitting here going, how does my kid not get it? And why did no one talk to me? That's a whole other story, another time for another video. And then we decided to homeschool afterwards, so it didn't really matter anymore. But I went into our homeschooling journey realizing, like, maybe my daughter is just not a math person, so we got to figure out how we can support her and make sure that she can fill in any gaps that she has. And I want her to not hate math. She doesn't have to love it, but I just want her to be okay with it. So me being a mathematically inclined person, I did some research and I decided to go with Singapore Math primary edition. We did not do dimensions, which now looking back, maybe that would have been better. I don't know. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, not important now. But we were great for the first couple chapters going through first grade Singapore primary math. And then we had a wall, and it was around chapter 5. We were almost halfway through the school year for first grade, and it was all tears, a visceral cringe reaction to me saying, hey, let's do math. And I'm sitting here going, oh no, my kid doesn't like math. This is like my worst fears confirmed. So then I was like, okay, let's pull back. We eventually decided to settle on switching to Math with Confidence first grade. I started her from the beginning in that book because even though it was halfway through the first grade year, I wasn't worried about being behind because we homeschool. I wanted her to make sure that she didn't have any gaps in knowledge and she felt confident in her math skills. Well, Math with Confidence definitely made her feel confident in math. It was exactly what we needed. It worked perfectly. And now she's like back up to normal grade level and doing great. So you're probably sitting here going, well, then why did you switch to Math Mammoth? Well, part of the reason that we switched to Math Mammoth was with Math with Confidence, it's very hands-on. There's not a lot of workbook and a lot of writing and just doing math problems. And my daughter kind of requested that I bring in some kind of material to supplement Math with Confidence. So what I ended up landing on was I got Math Mammoth. This is my youngest daughter's, but my oldest daughter had a version of this. And this is also, I didn't print it out in color. This is normally a colorful front cover, but I got Math Mammoth Skills Review Workbook, and I got it PDF so I could print it out, and you know, if my youngest daughter needed extras, then I'd have it and I don't have to pay for it again. But I got the skills review from Math Mammoth to correlate with my daughter's first grade, and it's just one page per like lesson. It's just additional review. But this gave her that workbook that she liked. And then when we were coming to a close on Math with Confidence first grade, she looked up one day when she was doing her math review from Math Mammoth. She said, does Math Mammoth have a full math curriculum that I could do? And I said, yeah, why? And she said, well, I kind of like it a lot. And I was like, okay. Oh boy, because I had Math with Confidence second grade bundle sitting in the wings in my bookcase over there, ready to go. We're about a month into second grade of this school year, and I'm like, we're gonna switch math again? And I was like, are you sure? And she said, please. And I was like, okay, let me look into it. So I looked into her actual full program, the light blue series, and I was on the website, and it basically said, here's our end of year tests that they offer for free to anybody on the website. I'll link it down below, and I'll link anything I can in this video down below for you to check out. But she offers the end of year tests that you can use for your normal, curriculum, but she offers them to the public as placement tests to figure out what grade should your kid be doing. So I was like, okay, you're finishing up Math with Confidence first grade. I'm gonna get the end of year first grade test. Let's see how you do on it, because I also heard that Math Mammoth is a little more advanced. I was a little concerned that it might be too much for her. And I also thought it would be a good experience for her to really see how they do their math. She passed the test with flying colors, and she absolutely loved how it spoke to her, how things were laid out, how it was written, the fact that it was kind of like more straightforward and not very fluffy and, a lot of things going on the page. She did so well with it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's switch one more time. What could hurt? What could happen? So as I was looking at purchasing the second grade Math Mammoth Light Blue series, the curriculum, my youngest daughter was finishing up Math with Confidence kindergarten level. She's way ahead in math. She's a math girl. She just gets it. And also, it doesn't matter what program I put in front of her, she does well with it, so it's fine. And she looks at me and she goes, I want to do Sissy's math. And I was like, but I've got first grade Math with Confidence ready for you to switch over to. She goes, please, please, please. And so I let her, before again, I decided to let her do it. I printed out this is my youngest daughter's, this is hers. I printed out some of the skills review workbook, because again, I already had this on hand, and I printed off some of the first sheets and I let her do them, and she just ate it up. She loved it. And she goes, yes, I want to do this math. And I was like, all right, we're doing this. We're making the switch. So I needed first grade and second grade. So what I did, instead of buying the individual grades, I decided to take advantage of her discounted bundles she offers, at least for the PDF version. She does sell fully bound books ready to go on her website and on Amazon, but she also offers PDF versions of things, and we are very big on PDF because I love being able to control the printing of it. The fact that I have more than one learner, I have 2 kiddos, I pay for it once and I can print it twice. It's a big cost savings for us, so we are really, really big. When companies offer PDF files, we get really excited. So, and it's also often cheaper than buying the fully bound book because they're not paying for any overhead cost or materials. So I went ahead and purchased the grade 1 through 4 bundle. I mean, it has the work textbooks, it has chapter tests, it has cumulative reviews, extra files. Like there's so much that comes in it. And I think for 4 grades, I spent just a little over $100. And I think when I calculated it out for all my girls to go through levels 1 through 4, it would end up costing us about $12 per child per year. That is insanely cheap. So I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's buy all of them, all 4 grades. Hopefully we use them. If we don't, it's fine. Well, we fast forward to now, January of this school year. So we're halfway through the school year, and both girls are absolutely loving Math Mammoth. It has been a wonderful switch, and I'm so glad we did it. So knowing what I know now, if I could go back in time as a brand new homeschool mom, I would do math the way I did it with my youngest daughter. So this is what I would do. This is my advice to anybody who's a new homeschool mama and she has maybe a preschooler or a pre-K-er on her hands. What I would do is if your child is preschool, pre-K level, I would get Kate Snow's Preschool at Home book. We did that with my youngest daughter. It was perfect. None of it's written. It's all verbal, using your fingers, using manipulatives that you have around the house. Very gentle, very easy. Then what I would do is I would move from that into Math with Confidence kindergarten. Because again, I think Math with Confidence is a fantastic program. There are a lot of moving pieces. So if you have two kids doing it at the same time, it feels like a lot, which I didn't realize and that it felt like that much to me until I switched to Math Mammoth. And I was like, whew, this is a little bit of a weight off my shoulders now. I didn't realize how much work I was doing with Math with Confidence. However, I still think it's an excellent program if you're okay with being really teacher intensive. So I would start with preschool, Math at Home with Kate Snow. Then I would move for kindergarten to Math with Confidence. Then I would move into Math Mammoth first grade. I think that would be the ideal progression and then go on from there. Math Mammoth starts at first grade. So you need something before then to kind of get you to the first grade level. I think that would be the ideal plan. And then moving forward, just keep going with Math Mammoth. At least that's working for us and that's what we're going to keep doing. Now, before I flip the camera around, and mind you, this is a review of first grade and second grade, so I will provide timestamps down below. So if you're looking specifically for second grade, you want to just fast forward to that, you can go to that part, or if you want to go to first grade, and if you don't want to hear me talk a little bit about it high level, you can go straight to first grade. So really quickly, some high level information about Math Mammoth. Again, I did that big overview that I linked earlier in the video that you can go check out, but just some high level information if you don't want to go watch that video. Math Mammoth is a mastery-based math program specifically focused on Singapore style of math, very heavy in mental math, word problems, and it's not very manipulative heavy. It has manipulatives on the paper, which I will show you, but there's not physical manipulatives. It is also a very cost-effective program. The 4 years that I purchased for both my girls is the cost of 1 year of Singapore primary math. Actually, I think it's less than 1 year at primary math. That's how cheap it is. I can't even believe it. It's amazing that they offer it at the price they do. Even if you buy the non-PDF files, the already bound created books, it is still very cost effective. I think it's less than $50 a level. So I think that's incredible. It is very straightforward. It is very rudimentary. There is not a lot of fluff, and I will show you more of this when I do the flip through, but you can see there's not a lot of excitement going on the page. So I would not consider it beautiful, but for my oldest daughter, I actually think that's been a huge positive for her because she likes that it's just so straightforward. She does it and then moves on. That's a big plus for her. One other thing that I love about it is that although it is very straightforward, at the beginning of chapters, they offer a lot of games, activities, and additional resources for the concepts that will be learned in that chapter. Links you can click on, QR codes. There is so much within this little book. Also, something to note is that each level is 2 books. So for second grade, it's 2A and 2B. First grade, it would be 1A and 1B. And it's only these books. There's no separate teacher guide and a student guide. That is another thing with Math with Confidence. You have 2 books that you're juggling and maneuvering. I like that it's all in one. It makes it a lot more streamlined, a lot more simple, and a lot less chance of me losing something. So with all that being said, without further ado, I am going to flip around the camera and show you more in depth what I like about Math Mammoth and a little bit of a sneak peek into each of the grade levels. All right, y'all. So I'm going to start off with first grade because we'll just go in, numerical order. So you'll see I have workbook A and I have workbook B. On the front of the cover, it'll show you what is in each book, what concepts you're going to go over at a high level. So for the first half of first grade, you're going to go over addition facts within 10, subtraction facts within 10, the connection between addition and subtraction, the fact that they are essentially 2 sides of the same coin, graphs, you have 2-digit numbers and place value within 100. In the second half of the year, addition and subtraction facts within 10. Again, just a review, clock and calendar, shapes and measuring, adding and subtracting within 100, and then counting coins. Okay, let's take a look at the first book for first grade. So here is a look at the contents. Now, I do not have Chapter 0 Kindergarten Math Review in this book. I decided not to print it off and have my daughter do it because we literally had just finished up Math with Confidence Kindergarten, and then the next day we started this program. There was no summer in between and concern about backslide and needing to do kindergarten review, so you will not see this in that book. I'm sorry. But we did start with Chapter 1, which is addition within 10. Chapter 2 is subtraction within 10. Chapter 3 is place value within 100. Place value is very important, skip counting, etc. Each of the books has a foreword in it where Maria Miller writes basically all about what is this program, how to use it the most effective way. She gives you a lot of, what she sees for the program, but obviously at the end of the day, she tells you use it the way that works for you. Although this is a mastery program, she mentions that if you want to make it more spiral and review, what you can do is you can do, lesson 1 from chapter 1, and then the next day do lesson 1 from chapter 2. You can do what you want based on what your child's needs are, which I love that it is so customizable in that respect. Another thing she says is there are a lot of problems in each lesson. She did it that way, not with the intention that your child would do every single problem for each lesson, but that maybe do every other. And if your child is having a hard time with one of the concepts, then maybe go back and do the problems that they didn't do to help with practice. So she just provides a lot of flexibility within the program, and I love that. At the beginning of each chapter, she has a review of the concepts that will be learned in that chapter, anything that the teacher should be on the lookout for or be mindful of to tell the kiddos. She also has a pacing suggestion for each chapter. The way that we approach math is we just do 20 minutes of math a day, and that's it. Also, y'all ignore my nails. This is why I never paint my nails, because they never last forever. Just ignore it. So what we do is we do 20 minutes of math. If we finish the lesson before the 20-minute timer is up, we're done. I don't move on to the second day. However, or the second lesson. However, if we are 3/4 of the way through, let's say, this first lesson, the next day we'll pick up where we left off there and then move into the second lesson and then see how far we get there. That just seems to work with us. We're moving swimmingly through the programs, and we're not behind. So that seems to be the way to do it. Then you'll see she has games and activities, additional practice online if your kiddo likes to do stuff on the computer, and then further information that you can get on the topic here through the QR code. These games are very reminiscent of the ones from Math with Confidence, so my girls don't feel like they're missing out on that play and that fun that they were having with Math with Confidence, which is why I think it was just such a good switch from kindergarten to first grade for my youngest. Now, you'll see what I mean by it is not beautiful. It is very straightforward. There is color, or if you choose to save some money on cartridges, you print it in black and white, and it's totally fine if it doesn't bother your kids. I did it in color because my kids do like the color, the distinguishing factor between the colors and all that stuff. It helps them. But it is no fluff. Like, it is pretty straightforward here, as you can see. It is not beautiful. But my kids like that. They like the fact that there's not a lot of distraction going on the page, and they can just focus on the problem at hand. Now, this is the first lesson I did with my youngest daughter before I realized that I was supposed to skip every other. She's also that kid that says, "Mommy, I know you highlighted this one and this one, but can I do this one too?" And I'm like, fine, fine, you can just do as much math as you want. Let me get to, so you can see it starts off very simple in the first grade. Again, I'm not going to show all of it here, but I'm going to show you kind of increments to show you how it progresses in its challenge. But at the beginning of each lesson, especially as you go into the later lessons, as it gets harder, there is this part up here where they will go over the concept they are teaching. Specifically with my first grader, I sit down and I run through this entire thing. And since she's not reading yet because she's kindergartner, I do the entire program with her. I mean, like, I read this and then she does the problems on her own and then I go back and check, but I sit next to her the entire time. And then you can see that we're working on, they've got a lot of word problems, which I love. Again, that is one thing that Math with Confidence didn't have, and my girls love word problems. They are obsessed with them. So I'm so glad we have a lot of that here. But you can see as it's progressing, now we've got 4 single-digit numbers we're adding together. And then we go into subtraction in the second chapter. So you'll see here, I highlighted A, B, C, but she's like, I want to do, or A, CE, but she's like, I want to do B, D, F. And I was like, fine, do them all, that's fine. But I highlight only every other. And then the one thing that I love that they do is at the end of each chapter, they will do a chapter review. And so you can choose to use this or you can move on, but I like to use it if the test doesn't go well. So in the PDF file, the tests are in a separate file. It's not included in this work text. I chose to print it and stick it in at the end of each chapter just so I could have it all in one book. I didn't want to have a separate file with all my tests. That would be too much for me to manage. But the tests are generally just one page and that's it. We don't want to overwhelm the kid. We just want to test their understanding. And then if there's some things here that like maybe they didn't do well on, by the way, my kids have been doing great on the test because I think just the chapter prepares them so well for it. But if per se there was, I would then go back to the chapter review and use some of these problems on the stuff that they were having a hard time with, and then use that as a tool to just make sure there's no gaps there. Okay, and then again, without showing everything, I'm just going to kind of show you this is kind of where you leave off with the last chapter, how it goes from you're doing, fact families within 10, and then you're starting to add double-digit numbers. So halfway through first grade, you're speeding along quickly. So let's look at workbook 1B now. All right, so here's the contents. And this is a freshly printed copy, so it's a little stiff. Oh, so something I was going to mention is that with the manipulatives, as you saw in the previous book, the manipulatives are on the page. Like where it is, let's find an example. Well, clocks, you got a clock manipulative, but we do have a clock toy that we use. They've got like the numbers, what do you call them, counters on the page. So you don't have to buy anything else. Again, making this very accessible from a financial perspective. However, we had pattern blocks from Math with Confidence. I got them on Amazon. They were super cheap, and my kids actually just like playing with them. And they're also going to come in handy when we start learning about geometry, and fractions, excuse me. But they have this here. You can print this off. See, this page is intentionally left blank. I would get cardstock, print it off on that, make it more durable, maybe even laminate it. But if you don't want to do all that, you can then purchase, the pattern blocks that we had per se. So I'll link those down below if you want to take a look at those. But she at least gives you the option where you don't have to spend extra money on manipulatives, which I really appreciate. Okay, so again, we've got a forward here. It's pretty much the same thing. And then we're moving into the lessons. So I'm not going to go too much into here because, again, I don't want to give away all her stuff that she did. But like, look, she's got even the blocks on here. We have Matthew C, a set of their blocks because I got them off Facebook. But my kids very rarely ask me to pull them out. This is enough on the paper for them. However, they're having a hard time with the concept. I asked, do you want me to pull out the blocks? And then sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. And sometimes even if I pull them out, they start playing with them like they're Legos and then they get distracted. So I almost feel like having the manipulatives on the paper helps them stay focused. And let's look at the end of first grade. We've got pictographs. We're working with coins in the last chapter. So they're getting to understand money and the value of it. And then we are done. Chapter 8, Test US Money. And then you have graduated and you are moving on to second grade. So let's look at second grade next. All right, so a quick overview of what's in each book. We've got some review, so review from first grade, even and odd numbers and doubling, then reading the clock, addition and subtraction facts within 18, adding 2-digit numbers, geometry and fractions, 3-digit numbers, measuring, regrouping, addition and subtraction, money, and then at the end of second grade, we get a little introduction to multiplication. Pretty exciting stuff. Now, I'm not going to go into, don't you love all my daughter's pictures? I'm not going to go into a full-fledged overview of the lessons. You know how they're set up. It's exactly the same way in second grade. I don't want to, beat a dead horse there. So, but here is a look at the contents in here. We just finished up chapter 4, so we've just got chapter 5, and then we'll move on to the second half of the book. Again, we're a little bit behind because we did a little maneuvering in first grade, but honestly, I think we'll probably catch up to next year, and she'll be starting third grade math in 3rd grade, and it'll be awesome. So similar forward, you see it's the same layout. A little intro to what we're going to be learning about in the chapter. Then we've got the pacing guidelines and then we've got games and additional resources as needed. Oh, and also something to mention is that Maria Miller has put online free lesson videos for each of the levels on YouTube for free. So if you're somebody who's like, hey, let's go to here. Let's go to, I'll go to one that my daughter hasn't written in. Okay, some fractions. Okay, you can go to her website, find this lesson, and click on the video, and it'll take you to her YouTube channel, and she'll give you a 5 to 10 minute video review of the lesson. And you could, if your kids are very into that and you need to be a little bit more parents hands off, just go do that for them. We haven't used them yet. I'm reserving them for in case we hit topics where I just cannot explain it to her and she's not getting it. If I'm doing it, sometimes it helps to have somebody else explain it to your kids. So I'm reserving those for that. However, if you don't use Math Mammoth, you can still go use those videos. You might have to search and figure out what topic you're trying to have your kid speak with because they align to this program in the chronological order that they go, but you could still easily use those for any other program, which I think is fantastic. Again, that she offers that for free. But so you'll see here, oh, and I got to talk about puzzle corners. So let's go to this lesson. Oh, here we go. So subtracting whole 10. So with my oldest daughter, I'm a little bit more hands-off, which she likes. She likes that independence factor because she's older and she's getting older and she wants to kind of do things on her own a little bit. So what I generally do is I go over the top part of the lesson and I go over what the concept is that they want to understand. And I ask her, does she have any questions? If she does, we work through some of it. If not, then she will do every other or every problem, depending on what it is. And then if she has questions, I'm there. I answer them for her. If not, I wait and I let her finish it. And then I check the work after with her. And anything she got wrong, we will go over after the fact. Now, at the end, not of all of them, but like of most of her lessons, she has something called Puzzle Corner. My kids love doing these. These are about the concept that they learned in the chapter, but it is a new way of looking at it. So it's a stretch kind of problem that they will work on, and it's a puzzle, and it really it challenges them. And the girls love doing them. Also because it's a puzzle. Anything puzzle-wise they love. But again, we've got chapter reviews, and then with my oldest daughter, I have them, I sometimes have her do them, I sometimes don't. I'm kind of leaning away from them because she keeps getting all of them right. So I'm like, do I keep doing it and waste her time or use it to reinstill the information she's learning? So here you'll see we're going to be doing geometry in the next chapter, which I'm kind of excited to get started on. We'll be touching upon fractions, and then end of chapter test and moving on to the second book. All right, so for the second book, here's a look at the content table. Pause that if you need to. So we started the year with reviewing fact families within single digits, and then we're going to be ending the year doing multiplication. How exciting is that? So we start off the second half of the year handling 3-digit numbers. Again, lots of manipulatives on here. We have these physical manipulatives, but if she doesn't want them, she doesn't need them. She's got them on the paper. This is also makes it easier for you to take it and go with you if you want to go somewhere and do your math at a coffee shop, or you need to go to an appointment and your kiddo needs to get their math done. It just makes it a lot easier. Dealing with bar graphs and pictographs. Then we move into measuring, kilometers, meters. They go over the metric system too and all that good stuff. There's just random dinosaurs. I think that's hilarious. And then we got for games and such, they have their hundreds charts, reviewing money again, and writing multiplication sentences. I think that's going to be so fun to go into. Oh, and then on top of that, not only does she have regular review, just like the chapter, what you learned in that chapter, but she also has these mixed reviews, which would be a review of any of the chapters learned before doing this chapter. So it mixes everything together. So again, that's where you can kind of bring in some of that spiral review. And then that's it, chapter 10, and we are graduating on to 3rd grade. Gosh, I can't believe we're going to be doing multiplication in a few months. That's awesome. All right, y'all, I hope you really enjoyed that. I hope it was informative and helpful to you if you're looking at Math Mammoth as a potential program for your kiddos and your learners. If you have any questions about anything that I discussed or did not even mention, maybe you have a question about, definitely leave that down in the comments. If you are new to my channel and you like all things homeschooling and Charlotte Mason, definitely hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. We always appreciate that over here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.